今日の英語始めます。今日は、私はあらゆる手段を使ってあなたをここに引き留める権限をヒュリ博士から受けていますっていう英語です。I've been authorized by Director Fury to use any means necessary to keep you on premises 初めて聞いたっていう言葉です。authorized が権限を与える。authorized 何々で誰々に権限を与える。means が方法とか手段。premises が、premises かなが、土地付きの家とか建物とからしいですね。コメントを拾うと、I've been の been が、I've been が I've known に聞こえるのは、I've known みたいに聞こえるけど、なぜですかみたいな質問してる人がいて、答えとしては、下の2つを比較してみれば、1と2と2つを比較してみれば、2がもっとスムーズに発音できるのがわかります。例えば、I've been authorized で、I've been authorized っていうのと、I'll be authorized って発音するのやったら、I'll be authorized 2番の I've been authorized の方が発音しやすいからちゃうかなっていう答えですね。英文拾うと I've been authorized 私は権限を与えられた by Director Fury さんに to use any means あらゆる手段を使うこと使ってですね。目的の to ですね。使って。necessary to keep you on premises あなたを、この土地付きの家とかに留まらせる。よね。necessary to が分からへんわ。necessary to が、必要とかやもんな。necessary to が、to 以下のことが必要やね。必要っていうニュアンスみたいですね。necessary to keep you on premises なんか、あなたをここにとどまらせておかなければいけないみたいな感じになるってことですね。覚えよっか。I've been authorized by Director Fury to use any means necessary to keep you on premises. OK。覚えた。聞いていきます。ちょっとゆっくり。プレミセスや、やっぱり。keep on premises。OK。やっていきます。I've been authorized by Director Fury to use any means necessary to keep you on premises. I've been authorized by Director Fury to use many means necessary to keep you on premises. I've been authorized by Director Fury to use any means necessary to keep you on premises. 早いな。I've been authorized by Director Fury to use any means necessary to keep you on premises.I've been authorized by Director Fury to use any means necessary to keep you on premises. I've been authorized by Director Fury to use any means necessary to keep you on premises. I've been authorized by Director Fury to use any means necessary to keep you on premises. I've been authorized by Director Fury to use any means necessary to keep you on premises. I've been authorized by Director Fury to use any means to keep you on premises. I've been authorized by Director Fury to use any means necessary to keep you on premises. I've been authorized by Director Fury to use any means necessary to keep you on premises. I've been authorized by Director Fury to use any means necessary to keep you on premises. I've been authorized by Director Fury to use any means. I've been authorized by Director. I've been authorized by Director Fury to use any menu. あれ Should use any mini. Should use any. Should use any. Should use any means necessary to keep your premises. Should use any means necessary to keep your premises. こうか。Fury to use any means necessary to keep your premises. こうか。Fury to use any means necessary to keep your premises. Okay. I've been authorized by Director Fury to use any means necessary to keep your premises. I've been authorized by Director Fury to use any means necessary to keep your premises. I've been authorized by Director Fury to use any means necessary to keep your premises. I've been authorized by Director Fury to use any means necessary to keep your premises. こうや。I've been authorized by Director Fury to use any means necessary to keep your premises. I've been authorized by Director Fury to use any means necessary to keep your premises. I've been authorized by Director Fury to use any means. あ、ここは苦手やっぱり。Fury to use any means necessary to. Fury to use any means necessary to keep your. Fury to use any means. あ、any means が出てこうへん。Fury to use any means necessary to keep on you promises. Fury to use any means necessary to keep on you. Any means necessary to keep your promises. こうか。Fury to use any means necessary to keep your promises. こうやね。I've been authorized by Director Fury to use any means necessary to keep your promises. I've been authorized by Director Fury to use necessary to keep your promises. I've been authorized by Director Fury to use any means necessary to keep your premises. I've been authorized by Director Fury to use any means necessary to keep your premises. I've been authorized by Director Fury to keep you on. I've been authorized by Director Fury to use. あー、忘れた。I've been authorized by Director Fury to 発音してんだ。Fury to use any means. I've been authorized by Director Fury to keep you on promises. あれ I've been authorized by Director Fury to keep you on promises. I've been authorized by Director Fury to keep you on promises. もう覚えられん。I've been authorized by Director Fury to use keep. to use any means I've been authorized by Director Fury to keep you on to use I've been authorized by Director to use I've been authorized by Director Fury to use any means I've been authorized by Director I've been authorized by Director Fury to I've been authorized by Director Fury to use I've been authorized by Director Fury to use any means necessary to keep you on premises. I've been authorized by Director Fury to use any means necessary to keep you on premises. I've been authorized by Director Fury to keep you on premises. I've been authorized by Director Fury to keep you on premises. I've been authorized by Director Fury to use any means necessary to keep you on premises. I've been authorized by Director Fury to use any means necessary to keep you on premises. I've been authorized by Director Fury to use any means necessary to keep you on premises. I've been authorized by Director Fury to use any means necessary to keep you on premises. I've been authorized by Director Fury to use any means necessary to keep you on premises. I've been authorized by Director Fury to use any I've been authorized by Director Fury to use any means necessary to keep you on premises. I've been authorized by Director Fury to I've been authorized by Director Fury. I've been authorized by Director Fury to use I've been authorized by Director Fury to use any means. I've been authorized by Director Fury to use any means necessary to keep you on premises. こうや。I've been authorized by Director Fury. I've been authorized by Director Fury to use any means necessary to keep you on premises. I've been authorized by Director Fury to use any means necessary to keep you on premises. I've been authorized by I've been authorized by Director Fury to use any means necessary to keep you on premises. I've been authorized have been authorized to keep you あかんわ、無理や、覚えられへんわ。I've been authorized by Director Fury to keep you I've been authorized by Director Fury to use necessary have been authorized by Director Fury to use any means necessary to keep you on premises. I've been authorized by Director Fury to use any means necessary to keep you on premises. こうや。I've been promises 違う。I've been authorized. I've been authorized by Director Fury to use any means necessary to keep you on premises. I've been authorized. Have been authorized by Director Fury to keep you. have been authorized by Director Fury to use any means necessary to keep you on premises. Have been authorized by Director Fury to use any means necessary to keep you on premises. Have been authorized by Director Fury to use any means necessary to keep you on premises. Have been authorized by Director Fury to use any means necessary to keep you on premises. Have been authorized by Director Fury to use any means necessary to keep you on premises. Have been authorized by Director Fury to use necessary to keep Have been authorized by Director Fury to use any means necessary to keep you on premises. Have been authorized by Director Fury to use any means necessary to keep you on premises. Have been authorized by Director Fury to use any means necessary to keep you on premises. Have been authorized by Director Fury to use any means necessary to keep you on premises. Have been authorized by Director Fury to use any means necessary to keep you on premises. Have been authorized by Director Fury to use any means necessary to keep you on premises. Have been authorized by Director Fury to use any means necessary to keep you on premises. Have been authorized by Director Fury to Have been authorized by Director Fury to use any means necessary to keep you on premises. Have been authorized by Director Fury to use any means Have been authorized by Director Fury to use any means necessary to keep you on premises. Have been authorized by Director Fury to use any means necessary to keep you on premises. 終わりました。ちょっと難しかったな。なんか、このスピードについていけへんかった。私はあらゆる手段を使ってあなたをここに、引き止める権限をヒュリ博士から受けています。Have been authorized by Director Fury to use any means necessary to keep you on premises みたいな感じで言ってました。そんな感じです。ありがとうございます。